just 2 weeks ago, they exhumed the body of Father Maskell, who's the main suspect in my series. And when he was alive, as far as we can tell, a DNA sample was never taken. And therefore, they had to dig up his body in 2017, 16 years after he was buried, to show outwardly that they're finally taking him serious as a suspect. So I see that as a positive sign. I see that as progress, that the Baltimore police are finally outwardly saying Father Maskell is a suspect. So we'll see what the results are. But that movement is a positive thing, I think.
Do you feel comfortable, or do you have a kind of a theory of what you think ultimately happened to Sister Cathy?
I mean, I don't think my theory is as important. You know, my theory differed from my producer's theory, that differed from my cameraman's theory, that differed from my editor's theories. So what we tried to do in The Keepers was distill down all of this urban legend and folklore that's always been bubbling up in Baltimore and tell the journey that we were on so that the audience can decide what they think the truth is.
Did you guys have any role in that? Did you know that was happening? And are you still filming and like still working on, you know, doing interviews in the series as more findings happen?
I mean, I had no idea that Father Maskell was going to be unburied. I know that we interviewed the Baltimore County Police in December, and then the exhumation happened in February. So a lot of people asked me if the documentary had something to do with it, and if it did, then I'm proud of that and its movement. As far as now, I have no plans to continue documenting it. You know, this was a painful process for a lot of the people involved, and it took 3 years. And it's draining for them to have to retell the most horrific parts of their lives. So at the end of the 3-year process, Gina and I had a conversation, and we both felt like we had reached the end and that we were ready to tell this story to the world. So there's no plans at the moment to continue documenting it, but that's not to say that I'm not excited to see what answers come out of it. I really do hope there's movement that comes out of it. Ultimately, it's a story about justice and sadly, injustice. And so I hope that perhaps we can tip the scales in favor of justice at some point. I don't know if that's going to come from the institutions that typically grant justice. You know, Maskell died a free man. He was never charged by the state's attorney's office. He was never arrested by the police. The church never took responsibility for him, and he died a free man. But maybe it's not too late to get some sort of communal justice where people in Baltimore are finally coming out of the woodwork and saying, this happened to me too, and therefore we believe you. So we'll see what happens, but I also don't think it's too late to solve the murder of Sister Cathy. We're seeing a lot of movement with the police right now. I hope that some of the things that we uncover in this series, the authorities will run with. It's kind of represented in the series. A few of the things we tell them, they seem like they're going to start investigating. So I hope the authorities run with some of the stuff that we uncovered, and that there could be justice for both Cathy and for all of these children in Baltimore who were abused.